This week in my little Sophie's world, she was kicked off the bus. Her and another little boy had an issue where she had a plastic Easter egg and she threw it at him on the bus and he threw it back to her, apparently harder, and hit her in the head. And so, in true Sophie fashion, she jumped over the seat and proceeded to treat him as she would one of her older brothers. So this week she has not been able to ride the bus. The mom in me wants to defend her and say she has ADHD, she can't help it, she's very impulsive. When she gets that idea in her head, she's just going to jump over the seat and do what she does to her brothers. However, we live in the real world, and that is not the way she is going to be able to handle situations. So we are working through it. I also went on a field trip with her this week, and all of the kids were crazy. And yes, it is May 18th, and we are all ready to be out of school, and we are tired of each other, and we just need a break. So I thought this might be a good time to show you all how I do reinforcement with my kids at home. I have tried multiple methods of reinforcement. I've tried to be very positive with it and do best practices with my own biological children. So I am going to show you two different ways that you can use the system that I use if you think it's something that would be useful in your home. Or if you're teaching, you could use something like this in your classroom as well. So this is a chart that I made for my kids. So it doesn't have Nick on here because he doesn't live here, and really he's kind of beyond this. So each of the kids has, this is $10, and then each $10 is broken down into 50-cent segments. So using this as a positive behavior support, they each have different chores that they have to do and different behaviors that they need to follow. And so let's say that Eli, one of his chores is to take the recycle out whenever the inside recycle bin gets full. He has to go dump it in the outside recycle bin. So when he would do that, what I would do is just come over and fill in a 50-cent segment. And once all of the segments were full, then he earns his $10. With Sophie, hers is more behavior-based, although she does have some chores. But if I ask her to go take a shower and she just jumps up and goes and takes a shower without me having to say it 10 times or having to force her into the shower, then I would just come over and fill that in. If that happened, I might actually fill in two, because that would be a miracle if that's what happened. So you're going to fill them up more positively. Isaac, one of his things is to empty the dishwasher after the dishes have run. So when he did that, I would just come over and I would just fill one of his in. So that's how it is used if you want to do positive behavior supports. The method that I use, because we are here in Sophie land and I have to use what works with her, is I go the opposite way. So they each start Sunday with $10, and we do this every Sunday. It just rotates around. And so let's say with Eli, one of the things he does that drives me crazy, and he knows that it is against the rules, is he eats chips in his room. And not only does he eat chips in his room, he leaves the chip bag in his room open and just leaves it there for days if I would let him. So if I walk by his room and the chip bag is there, I just go to the chart and I mark off a 50-cent. And actually, I try to write in here what it is. Just depends on how tired I am. But I try to write it in there because I don't say anything to them at first. But let's say that I walk by it 3 times in the night and he still hasn't picked it up. Then I might say, Eli, you lost $1.50 already. You need to go pick up the chips. Sometimes when I'm driving home from work, I'll call Isaac and I'll say, I ran the dishwasher this morning. I need you and Eli to put away the dishes. I get home and they haven't done it, then I just go to the chart and I just mark dishes on here. Um, so that they know they need to do things when I ask them to do it. There were so many times that I would walk in the living room and say, hey guys, go get your clothes and put them away, because I had just folded all of their clothes. And they would continue to sit there and watch TV. And it made me want to lose my mind. And so now if I say, hey guys, put your clothes away, and they just sit there, then I just come and grab this and I write clothes on here. And I'll be like, do you need to lose $1? And then they'll get up and do it. With Sophie, it's a little bit different. She is much more behavior-based than chore-based. So with Sophie, if she did get up and go take a shower, then she wouldn't lose anything. But let's say that I say it's time to take a shower, and she says, I don't want to take a shower. So I would just say, Sophie, I'm going to set the timer, the microwave timer, for 3 minutes. When the timer goes off, if you're not in the bathroom, I'm going to mark off 50 cents. So the timer goes off. She's still sitting there. So I just come over here and write shower on here. Set the timer again. Timer goes off. She's still sitting there. I say, Sophie, you've lost $1. I set the timer again. And eventually she gets up and goes. But for whatever reason, I don't get as mad, because I know that she is facing a consequence for just sitting there and not doing anything. If I were to yell at her and be like, Sophie, get up and go take a shower, it would turn out bad. She would totally shut down. She would probably end up throwing things, and it would be a mess. So instead of saying anything more than, you've lost 50 cents, you've lost $1, I don't say anything. And I'm really consistent with the timer. I use the timer a lot with her, because when the timer goes off, that gives me a concrete signal for her to say, you just lost it. And it's not me saying it, it's the timer saying it. So I use the same thing for her getting up in the morning. Getting up is really hard for her most of the time. So I'll go wake her up in a really sweet way, lay in bed with her for a little bit, talk to her a little bit, and then I'll come back downstairs. I'll start getting ready. If she's still not coming down, I'll say, Soph, do you need 3 minutes or 5 minutes? And if she says 5, then I set the timer for 5 minutes. If it goes off and she's not downstairs, I might say, Soph, I'm marking 50 off. And so it's just a very consistent way to get her to understand that when I ask her to do something, that she needs to do it. She needs to follow through. This $10, every Sunday, I just go through, we figure out how much money they've lost, and whatever's left over, I give them for their allowance. This doesn't have to be $10. It could be, $5 a week, especially if you have younger kids. This is the first time I've ever given my kids, or given them the chance to have $10 for allowance a week, but they're getting older. You could also use a picture of an object that they want. So with Sophie, when she was younger, she wanted these craft sets at Walmart. And so I would just go to Google Images and copy and paste the craft set in here. And at that time, we were always working towards it. And so we would fill up the boxes until she had earned the craft set. So that's another way that you can use this in a very positive way. And all I did to make these was I just went to Google Images, copy and pasted the $10 in each of those, and then made these tables. So it's really very easy. If you go to my website and sign up for my, just to follow me and sign up for my email, then I am going to send you a sheet like this. I'll attach it to the email that is a $5 sheet and a $10 sheet. And then if this is something that you want to use, you can do so.